I was 28 years old, broke, and sleeping on my best friend's couch. My dream of opening a bakery had crumbled faster than one of my cookies. Everything I'd worked so hard for felt like it was slipping away, and I was terrified. But deep down, I knew I couldn't give up. I grew up in a small town in Ohio, baking with my grandmother in her cozy kitchen. Baking was in my blood, and for as long as I could remember, I dreamed of opening my own bakery in New York City. After years of saving every penny from my job as a waitress, I finally made it happen. I opened a tiny bakery in Brooklyn and called it Grace's Bakes. It was meant to be a warm, welcoming place where everyone felt at home. The first few months were magical. People loved my signature lemon lavender scones and freshly baked bread. I felt like my dream was finally coming to life. But then, disaster struck. A massive storm flooded the bakery, ruining almost all of my equipment and leaving me with a mountain of debt. I didn't have insurance to cover the damage. Just like that, everything I'd built was gone. I was back to square one, completely broke, and I had no choice but to move in with my best friend, Mia, who graciously let me crash on her couch. Waking up every morning on Mia's couch, I felt like a failure. I was overwhelmed with shame and self-doubt. But Mia wasn't the type to let me wallow in self-pity. One night, as we were sitting in her tiny kitchen, she looked at me and said, "Grace, you have a gift. Use it. We'll figure something out." Her words lit a spark in me. I decided to start over, right there in Mia's little kitchen. It wasn't the bakery I had dreamed of, but it was something. I began baking my favorite treats again and selling them online. I set up an Instagram page, posting photos of beautifully decorated cupcakes and warm, flaky pastries. I poured my heart into every caption, sharing the memories tied to each recipe, like baking with my grandmother. People resonated with my honesty and vulnerability, and slowly, I started gaining followers. Days were long and exhausting. I baked from the crack of dawn until late at night, and Mia's kitchen was always filled with the aroma of fresh pastries. But behind the delicious smell was a fight to keep going. I was terrified of failing again. Then, a miracle happened. A well-known food blogger discovered my Instagram page and ordered a dozen cupcakes. She posted about my story and how much she loved my pastries, and overnight, my account blew up. Orders started pouring in, and I didn't know how I was going to keep up. Mia and I stayed up late, baking and laughing, even though we were completely exhausted. It was chaotic, but I felt alive. Of course, it wasn't all smooth sailing. I faced overwhelming demand, limited kitchen space, and constant worries about running out of supplies. At one point, I had to turn down orders because I simply couldn't keep up, and it broke my heart. But I refused to let it defeat me. I took small business courses online, learning how to manage my finances and grow my operation. I negotiated better deals with local suppliers and reinvested every dollar back into my business. My next big break came when a local news station heard about my story and featured me in an evening segment. The publicity brought a surge of new orders and support from the community. Finally, I had enough money to rent a small commercial kitchen. With the new space, I hired 2 part-time employees and started offering baking classes for kids and adults. Teaching those classes brought me so much joy, especially because I got to share the recipes my grandmother had passed down to me. Today, Grace's Bakes is a thriving bakery with 2 locations in Brooklyn and a booming online business. I still think back to those nights on Mia's couch and the flood that nearly ended my dream. Now, I understand that success doesn't mean never failing, it means rising every time you fall. I've even started a mentorship program to help other young bakers chase their dreams, and I bake for local shelters whenever I can, giving back to the community that supported me. If you ever feel like your dreams are slipping away, remember, it's okay to start over. Sometimes, the biggest storms bring the most beautiful new beginnings. If my story inspired you, please like, subscribe, and share your own story in the comments. Let's uplift each other and keep dreaming, no matter what life throws at us.